Week 21 of the USL League One season takes us to the River City for the 13th Henny Derby as forward Madison looks to retain the trophy for the first time in club history. It's Richmond Kickers and forward Madison, USL League One presented by UCrops. A pleasant good evening, Sam Goldfarb here. Let's take a look at where both teams stand ahead of the second Henny Derby meeting of the year. Forward Madison is in 5th but winless in their last 3. Meanwhile, Richmond Kickers just 1 win in their last 7, looking to keep place with the playoff places. For Richmond, the player to watch, presented by First Tee of Greater Richmond, is Neil Vinyals, fresh off a career night at Lexington last week. Had a brace, including this sensational finish to open the scoring in the 6th. Well, how did he do? How did he one-up himself? Here's your answer. A phenomenal free kick that was named to the Sports Center top 10 the next day. It wound up being a 2-2 draw. Couldn't make his brilliance pay off for the full 3 points. Meanwhile, for forward Madison, the player to watch, also presented by First Tee of Greater Richmond, is the creative engine that pulls the strings in Isidro Martinez. He dished out this lovely assist to Christian Cheney to open the scoring last week in the 1-1 draw against Greenville Triumph. He has just been an assist machine, has 3 on the year. Just a youngster with a very bright future, and his only goal this season was this lovely banger at North Carolina FC. The River City Red Army and the flock ready to roll here from Richmond at City Stadium. Kickaroo and company getting ready for the second Henny Derby. Richmond looking to prolong the series to a final game. Forward Madison looking to lock down the trophy once again. Stick with us here on ESPN Plus for lineups and kickoff.
SeatGeek is the ticketing app for fans like the High Five Strangers guy. Game-winning interception. First down. Just a nice, solid tackle. If you're in arm's length, you will be swapping skin with this extrovert. You see, he knows SeatGeek got him a great deal on tickets, so he can focus on what he does best, smacking palms. SeatGeek handles the tickets to sports, concerts, and more, so fans can fan.
So we've decided to sell the house.
Oh, yeah? Who's your realtor?
Well,
home for sale. Over here, guys, over here. Only $10.
Where do I find comps? What is incumbents? How do I escrow?
Here's what I found for Scarecrow.
actually, I've been meaning to ask who you and Paul worked with.
Welcome to Royal New Kent Golf Club. Designed by world-renowned architect Mike Strantz, Royal New Kent's a one-of-a-kind Irish-style golf course located 20 minutes east of Richmond, Virginia. Royal New Kent was featured in Golf Week's top 100 public courses in the country. Hidden behind grassy knolls and hand-stacked rock walls, each hole offers several playing options to fit a wide range of abilities. Visit royalnewkent.com or follow us on social media for more information on tee times and rates. Remember, come to Royal New Kent Golf Club to Golf Ireland in Virginia.
We would not have a business today if it weren't for the support of the many, many people within the Richmond community. To me, we're working as a team to enhance the quality of life for all residents.
It's about being the best that you can be. It's about enriching the lives of people in your community. There's a reason why we have the tagline Nourish, because it's really about nourishing the lives of the people that work for us and the people that we serve. That's what the UCrops brand stands for.
Back here on ESPN Plus for the 13th Henny Derby, the walkout presented by First Tee of Greater Richmond. Well, let's delve into the history of this storied fixture on the USL League One calendar. It's the 13th ever meeting, and it's been a game of razor-thin margins. 9 matches decided by a 1-0 scoreline over the course of the history. Forward Madison a slight edge with 6 wins to Richmond's 5. And oddly enough, despite how close all of these matches have been, all but one has been decided by 1 goal. Only one has ended in a draw. And as well, when you look at the series history, both teams have clinched the Henny Derby trophy twice. This season is the decider. And now let's take a look at the starting lineups presented by the VA Army National Guard for Richmond. It is their usual 4-3-3. The big change, Chandler O'Dwyer making his first start since early June. The back line is pretty standard, and Sierakowski and Terzaghi make up the rest of the front three. And, well, we got to spotlight this man, Emiliano Terzaghi. In his Henny Derby history, only 4 goals in 8 matches played. Has not scored, though, since October of 2021. That wound up being a victory for Richmond to help them clinch the 2021 Henny Derby trophy. Meanwhile, for Matt Glazer's side, Matt Glazer not actually on the touchline tonight. It's a 4-4-2. They've changed from that from their back three earlier in the year. The big note, Christian Cheney on the bench. An odd look for forward Madison's top scorer. Meanwhile, Isidro Martinez, the man we spotlighted, wearing the captain's armband tonight. And who else would we spotlight other than Stephen Payne, the man who scored the game winner in the last Henny Derby meeting at City Stadium in June? He's a former Richmond kicker himself as well. That certainly made for an interesting storyline. Here's your keys to the game presented by CarMax. Talking to both coaches for Darren Sawatsky's side, it's minimizing the transition moments considering how well forward Madison counters. And, well, hitting on forward Madison, they want to counter quick. They're very good at absorbing pressure. The question is, can they get the other way quick and find the back of the net? Well, for Richmond, they dropped the last Henny Derby meeting to this Madison side at City Stadium. Here's your look at the Bon Secours injury report. Only 1 man out for each side. Ethan Vanacore-Decker getting closer, according to Darren Sawatsky. Benitez, meanwhile, is out tonight for Madison. Here we are in Richmond, Virginia at City Stadium. Richmond looking to force a decisive 3rd game in the 2023 edition of the Henny Derby. Madison can clinch with a win or draw. Just waiting the referee's signal. Richmond in the black strip, Madison in their pink and blue tonight. And underway, the 13th Henny Derby at City Stadium. We'll get into the history over the course of this broadcast. I had the opportunity to chat with the 2 men that wound up founding this event in Elliot Barr and Kyle Carr. We will touch on my conversation with them in the later stages of this first half. For Richmond, we mentioned it off the top, a 2-2 draw with Lexington to move to 4 consecutive matches without a win. Darren Sawatsky said he felt the performance merited the 3 points, felt it was a cleaner performance than the one at Northern Colorado a week prior. Still no reflection on the final score sheet other than a draw. There's your look at Burn Shipman, one of the best goalkeepers in all of USL League One. A man who leads the league with 8 clean sheets. And that is the man that garnered all the attention the last time these 2 sides met, Stephen Payne, a longtime Richmond kicker, scoring against his former club for the lone goal in the last meeting. Did not celebrate, a classy move by the youngster. One of a few men who this offseason was purchased off Darren Sawatsky's hands. Here's O'Dwyer's first touch. Ball falls for the danger man in Vinyals. There's your look at Darren Sawatsky, his 4th season at the helm of this Richmond Kickers club. It was a Richmond side going through a bit of a rough patch. When he got the call in 2019, he said the call was very simple from ownership. It was, do you want to build a winner? His answer was yes. He feels they've done that very well. Right now, uncharacteristic though. Don't usually see them beneath that playoff cut line. Here's Terzaghi. Ball pings out of play. A man goes down in João Gomero. be interesting to see how much work Shipman has to do tonight. Going through an uncharacteristic rocky stretch with 5 saves and as many goals allowed in the last couple matches. Ball sits at Bartman's feet. And Sierakowski loses control of it. Here's Sam Brotherton, the New Zealand international. We touched on it moments ago, but Matt Glazer suspended after picking up a red card in Madison's last meeting. It was a 1-1 draw with Greenville triumph in the friendly confines of Breese Stevens Field. A match which Matt Glazer said he was pleased with their performance. Felt like maybe they didn't take their chances adequately. But it was just one lapse in the 53rd minute. That allowed Greenville to steal an equalizer. And despite having a 22-8 shots advantage, it was just a point for Forward Madison at home. Here's the ball through for Sierakowski. And can't quite run onto it. Sierakowski, the only man to score for 4 different USL League One clubs. Played for Tormenta earlier this season on a temporary deal, scored for them. Has 1 goal in a Richmond kit as well. Here's Bartman. And Stephen Payne. It's an interesting lineup alignment for both these sides. We touched on for Richmond, it's the classic 4-3-3, but the front three has been a point of emphasis for supporters all year. How can you get the best service for Terzaghi has been the question mark Darren Sawatsky's been dealing with throughout the bulk of this season. For Madison, well publicized is the change from the 3-5-2 to the 4-4-2. Sierakowski draws the offside flag, and we'll be going back to the men in pink. Select, the official match ball supplier of the USL League One and many elite leagues throughout Europe. Visit www.us.select-sport.com for the latest Select products, specials, and more. Select, the player's choice. If you're just joining us, welcome to the 13th Henny Derby. Second meeting of the year between these two sides. The final meeting at City Stadium. There will be one more contest up in Madison later this year. One of the banner events on the USL League One calendar, and a derby that draws fans from across the country. Here's Vinyals. One of the top chance creators in the entirety of USL League One. Looks to switch the play for Fitch and got underneath it a bit much. So Matt Glazer suspended with the red card. Neil Clavati should be the acting head man tonight, and who's been with the club since 2019. You wonder how that affects the dynamics of Madison tactically. Jake Kroll. He's been a mainstay all year in this Madison 11. Looking through for Cicero. Kroll every minute in defense for Madison this season. That will ping out for the first set piece of the evening. Listen, a lot of tall bodies they can aim for in the box here. Just be hoping that any chances that come about don't rocket off the post like they did last week. First, W.W. Nash painting and fireproofing corner kick, Isidro Martinez to take. Here's his in-swinger to the near stick. And it is cleared only as far as Payne, who whips in the cross. Well, a big talking point when you look at this Ford Madison squad build-up is how many players have so much proven USL Championship pedigree. One of those, of course, is Isidro Martinez. 6 assists last season with Rio Grande Valley. Comes down to USL League One, and it's been so terrific. Meanwhile, that man, Stephen Payne, played for the regular season champs a year ago. See his first involvement. Tried to hit this on the volley. It was always a tough ask from there. Here's Macias, and who played in the QPR Academy for 7 years. Hornsby, and a heavy touch. Sierkowski trying to tussle through Payne, and it comes free for Nazim Bartman. One of very few players outside of Christian Cheney that's managed to hit the back of the net multiple times for Madison this year. It was a dominant June for the Mingos. They were competing for first place with Northern Colorado around mid-July. Blew a 2-0 lead on the road at North Carolina a few weeks ago, and ever since, results have been a little harder to come by. Onan gives chase, and he'll lose out to Barnathan. Match unfolding a little differently in the opening quarter of an hour than many would have expected. Last match, Richmond bossed a large share of the ball. Madison absorbed pressure and countered. And their goal came on a relatively quick break with Richmond stretched. So far, the Mingo's bossing possession, and a lot of it's been concentrated in Richmond's third. Hornsby looks ahead for Terzaghi, and Payne reads it well. And it will sit for Derek Gebhard. So lively on the left. Over the course of this Henny Derby fixture, goals have been at a premium. We mentioned 9 of 12 previous results decided by a 1-0 scoreline. Talk to fans and players alike. Everything just feels a little tighter in these matchups. Here's Stephen Payne, a man who's played on both sides of it. That deflects out of play for looks to be a corner kick. Martinez has been a busy man early. Another W.W. Nash corner kick. Just 26 years of age with the world at his feet. Here's his outswinger. Towards the back stick. Onan can't get a clean contact on it. Payne tries. And we will run it back one more time. Payne has some space here, a little half chance, and Hornsby closes it down with considerable aplomb. Here, Greenswell replay. Martinez getting some target practice. We talked about limited goals in this fixture. Forward Madison has scored 9 total goals against the Richmond Kickers. That's the same as they've scored against a former League One side in North Texas SC. Also have scored more goals against Toronto FC's second team back when they were in League One. These matches are anything but a cakewalk. One result decided by multiple goals. Jake Kroll to take this throw for Madison. And here's Gebhard for Aiden Macias. Headed along by Kroll, no issues for the longtime Kickers goalkeeper Akira Fitzgerald. Man who's been battling knocks over the course of this year. Last season setting the single season record for saves. Hasn't quite been as easy. Terzaghi's through, and the flag stays down. Terzaghi narrowly skips it beyond the far post. That's a man looking to make his imprint on this fixture. Seems to be appealing for a corner. Let's take another look. Great ball through by Gamiro. Terzaghi on the last line of defense. Made a decent chance of that given the tight angle. And it does not look like that took a touch. Man who's been rostered since 2020. Goal scoring record in the Henny Derby, not too shabby. Well, unlike the possessional difference, from a chance perspective, it's about what we expected. Things at a premium in these opening 20. Terzaghi doing well to free himself up after a couple frustrating weeks against Lexington in Northern Colorado. Here's Payne. Has a hit, and no trouble for Fitzgerald. Nazim Bartman has made increasingly more significant impact as the years progressed. Assisted Payne's winner in that last Henny Derby meeting has since found the back of the net 3 times, all of them coming since June 22nd. Also scored the goal of the week back-to-back weeks, immediately following the Henny Derby. This is Derek Gebhardt. Well, with Kroll, he's got options ahead. See Chero unable to keep it in play. When you look at the disparity between these two sides, it is almost surprising they find themselves rivals. Obviously, Forward Madison, a new club upon the establishment of USL League One back in 2019. Club with lively kits. They always play unorthodox formations, with the exception of today, of course. Can tweet no wrong, as many supporters say, of both clubs. Richmond, meanwhile, the classic 4-3-3. They've been around now 31 seasons. Here's Gamiro's cross, and no issues for Shipman. And in many ways, perhaps it makes the most sense they're rivals. May not be geographically near one another, may not share common histories, but all united by one terrific tie we will get into in a matter of moments. Here's Macias. And the ball pops free for Payne. Onan's got some space. Here is Jaden Onan. Cuts it back. Gebhard. And Gamiro cuts it out. Macias' hit will just be a mere souvenir for the fans at City Stadium. See another look at this. Good looking cross from Onan. Gebhard's cut out well. Not a bad try by Macias. Madison just trying to keep those long rangers down a bit more to test Fitzgerald. Midway point of this first half. Both teams looking to unlock things. Here's Vinyals. Things back for O'Dwyer. And here comes Fitch's cross. Draws Shipman off his line. Doesn't do much more than that. You are just joining us, unsurprisingly so, a cagey affair in the Henny Derby. Madison, though, the better of the two sides in terms of possession and half chances. Richmond, though, perhaps with the most glaring, the Terzaghi one-on-one. Here's Gebhard. Bundled over by Awney, no whistle from the referee. Terzaghi the league's all-time leading goal scorer. Vignal sachets through traffic. Held up well by the Argentine Terzaghi. Finally, a bit too much contact for referee Christian Campo Hernandez's liking. Here's your replay presented by Greenswell Growers. Maybe a bit of acting from Martinez. Would have been tough to let play go on, though. Flicked along by Onan, just outside the path of Seixeiro. Martinez crosses in. And Brotherton, a shove to the back of Terzaghi. When you talk to Darren Sawatsky, he talks so much about avoiding taking liberties. That's a saying his college coach, Clive Charles, often uttered back when he played for him. And he says that his side took too many of them in the early stages of last month through most of July. He said they cleaned things up better against Lexington. Said really couldn't do much about the penalty. He felt that it probably wasn't worthy of the referee's ire. Meanwhile, the own goal, perhaps a few more miscues led to that, but said that doesn't happen every day of the week. Get pegged back on an own goal and a penalty. Felt they were a lot cleaner in possession. Here tonight, both sides look a little tight going forward. Hornsby. Trying to link with Vignals and goes out for a Madison throw. Payne, one of 6 major offseason exits for Richmond. 7 of 13 players with 1,000+ minutes a year ago returning for the Kickers. Terzaghi does come back, but required a lot of overhaul, and Richmond still trying to figure out the right combination in their 4-3-3. Here is Sierakowski. Moran. When you talk to Coach Sawatsky, speaks a lot about the money spent around the league, as you see the River City Red Army in full force for Richmond tonight. Mentioned just a fantastic atmosphere anytime these two sides hook up. Always good turnout from Madison as well. This is Sierakowski. Simon Fitch. And now Richmond finally with their first corner of the night, 29 minutes in. A W.W. Nash corner kick for the Kickers. Who else but Michael Hornsby. Hearing word there will be hydration break in a matter of moments. Hornsby looking to send Richmond into that on a high. Here's his in-swinger. It comes to the near post and beyond everyone. An enticing delivery from Hornsby. Nobody comes properly to meet it, though. And both sides will make their way over to their respective sidelines for our first hydration break. So many of you may be wondering, it's a banner landmark fixture on the USL League One calendar, but it wasn't always that way. This is a supporters-generated event. As you see on your left, there's Kyle Carr, Elliot Barr on your right. Elliot Barr is the founder of River City 93 podcast, a member of the Red Army. Meanwhile, Kyle Carr, a member of Featherstone Flamingos. They both wagered a bottle of Hennessy ahead of the first fixture in 2019. It initially was concentrated between the two supporters groups, but then ahead of the third fixture, it intersected with a community night, and Elliot focused it on promoting black supporters on a heritage night and bringing in black supporters from across the country. And Kyle Carr, meanwhile, was doing a road trip with Featherstone all of the way from Madison to Richmond, and the event completely blew up. When speaking to Elliot and Kyle, they both said, look, we didn't know this was going to garner as much attention as it did, but Pablo Maurer of The Athletic and the Total Soccer Show all came and tweeted out photos that went viral. There was a trophy made as well by Elliot's wife's best friend, who happens to be an art teacher, and it was the deciding matchup. Richmond, of course, had won the first in 2019. Madison had won the second, and in that third matchup, Madison came in and won, but ultimately both sides felt like they'd established a special tradition. And of course, Kyle was able to raise the trophy for the first time, but it was an event that has since announced itself to the world as a landmark fixture on the calendar. When you speak to Elliot and Kyle about the future of this Henny Derby, I think the first thing that sticks out is they say they want it to be almost like an HBCU homecoming event almost. Both their respective supporters groups so focused on promoting and celebrating black culture and black soccer culture in particular, and also expanding the game to local black and African American fans in the Richmond and Madison communities. Since then, they've generated fans from across the country to come to this very event. Payne looks forward for Onan. It's cut back across. Nobody home to meet it. And in addition, take a look at this replay one more time. You see a good underlapping run from Onan. Delivered right across, but nobody in pink on the other side of it. Kroll prepares this long throw for Madison. Vinyals with some room to roam, and now Sierakowski. DeMiro. Flicked wide for Fitch. He's got options ahead. Delivery from O'Dwyer. Got Shipman's attention. Apparently didn't catch Shipman's palms, though, according to the lead official. Let's take another look at this. So Dwyer denying the overlap. Has a good hit at this. It does not look like it touched Shipman's palms, to be fair. Despite the appeals of the 24-year-old. Suddenly Richmond playing a bit more assertively as we approach the final 10 minutes of this first half. When you speak to Elliot Barr and Kyle Carr about the future of this, we mentioned the HBCU homecoming vibe. You see the fans packed, flocking from across the country to see this event. But they also mentioned the importance of communal efforts as well. As the Derby grows, they would like to give back more to the Richmond and Madison communities. On that Heritage Night back in 2019, Elliot brought in numerous nonprofits from across the Richmond region, and continuing to do so as the year progresses. This ball comes in for Bartman on the doorstep, and it trickles over the line. Nazim Bartman opens the scoring for Madison. Assisting the winner last time these two teams met, and poking it in the back of the net the next time. And he seems to come off a little worse for wear as well. It's Bartman's 4th of the year. Good cross comes in from Onan. Sicero just chests it. It just deflects through a sea of legs. It looked like pure adrenaline for Bartman. Didn't even feel the pain until after he got to the corner flag. Look at this. Deflecting off a slew of bodies, and he does just enough to wrestle it in. As he runs to his teammate Onan, who whipped in the cross, that's when he starts to feel a little bit of pain in his midsection. Either way, Madison on the board first. They're still tending to Bartman, who's become such a pivotal piece in this Madison side the last few weeks. So he will get tended to by the physios. So it's a wrist that they're looking at and taping up. Seems to be all right for the time being. A man who began his career in Nisa after being drafted 73rd overall by the Whitecaps, not signing a contract, and worked his way up to forward Madison. Now in his 2nd year with the club after joining on trial a season ago. Beginning to rediscover his shooting boots after tucking it in the back of the net 5 times in 2022. So the goal comes a bit earlier for Madison than it did last time, but same scoreline that we saw the last time these two teams hooked up. And as of now, the Mingo's in prime position to wrap up what would be a 2nd straight Henny Derby crown. Obviously, still loads of football to be played before we reach that point. Currently, the trophy is stashed at Kyle Carr's house. I'm sure at the next Madison home match in a few days' time, they are to at least secure a point in this, will be a fixture of the supporter section. Here's Sicero. Tucks it wide for Gebhardt. As Madison looks to make a push on the stroke at halftime. Macias. Terzaghi pokes it loose. And will go out for a Madison throw. Mentioned the community element earlier. River City Red Army supporting the local roller derby team tonight, one of the many nonprofits that these two sides raise money for in the Henny Derby. It's a non-traditional rivalry, both in the sense of its history, which we touched on, but also in the relationship between these two clubs. It's almost sibling-like. They compare it to losing your brother when you lose the Henny Derby, but at the end of the day, all of these fans are here to connect and support their clubs in the most positive way possible. It's just so different from your traditional European rivalry where there's legitimate animosity. In this case, there's no acrimonious element. Don't miss a minute of the action in 2023, whether your club is on the road or at home. Catch nearly every second of USL League One action on ESPN+, the home to the USL, La Liga, the Bundesliga, UFC, and more. Sign up today at plus.espn.com. 40 minutes gone here from City Stadium. Nazim Bartman's 35th minute opener making the difference as he has since re-entered the fray after dealing with a bit of a scare to his wrist. Bartman's 4th of the year, 2nd goal contribution against Richmond in as many matches this season. If you are Richmond, Madison scoring the first goal certainly doesn't fit your game script, and not just from the mere obvious perspective of you're going down. It's also because Madison is known for its defensive solidity. That man's a big reason why, but they've conceded the joint least goals in the league. Just 19 allowed in as many matches. So tough to break down when they throw numbers behind the ball. Something Matt Glazer takes pride in his side. Here's Kroll for Gebhardt. Just wonder for Richmond where the inspiration comes creatively. Very little going forward for the kickers in this opening 45 minutes to this point. Hornsby. And it comes out for Vinyals. If anyone will be that source of inspiration, you figure it will be 10 in black. Especially after last week's heroics in the opening 45 at Lexington. Here is Vinyals. Finds Fitch. He dribbles through traffic. Moran. It deflects through and nobody home to meet it. Haven't seen as much from Stephen Payne from a chance creation perspective, but as you would expect coming in, all over the shop. Covers ground like a madman. Richmond Kickers fans know that better than anyone else. Here tonight, contributing on both sides as per usual. Gebhard can't quite toe the touchline on the far side. The Greenswell Growers stoppage time, 4 minutes. It's been a frustrating opening 45 for the Richmond Kickers, to say the least, and Nazim Bartman currently making the difference for the Mingos. They weather the storm in this first, and the next 45, Henny Derby trophy will stay in Madison for the second straight year. Here's Gebhard. Going to make that more of a reality. Payne. To switch the play, it's cut out well and recycled by Martinez. Payne's got some space. Barton in the goal scorer, wins the corner. Man who has played in Nice, USL League Two, and now making his trade in USL League One as a proven goal scorer. With Christian Cheney on the bench tonight. There'll be at least one more W.W. Nash corner kick before we reach intermission. Here's Martinez's outswinger. It comes in. Sits over for Gebhard, and, well, Moran drawing the whistle against Madison. Another good delivery by Martinez. He's had a fair few of those. And it almost looked like Richmond defender ran into his own teammate there, but perhaps the Madison man instigated it. Here is Simon Fitch. Hornsby. Turn on the afterburners. To Gomiro, a magician with the ball at his feet. Vinyals. Switches it wide for O'Dwyer. Looking for some support in the penalty area. Looks for Vinyals. Cleared only as far as Hornsby. Final 30 seconds of allocated added time here in the first half. Richmond looking for one last opportunity. Whistle blows to signal the end of the first half. It is 1-0 Forward Madison, the same scoreline they won by at City Stadium in June. Nazim Bartman, that man on your screen, making the difference in the 35th. The Simplicity halftime show here on ESPN Plus. When we return, we'll give you a full breakdown and a look around the league. A great night for USL League One in a major fixture, and right now Forward Madison 45 minutes away from securing that trophy. Stick with us.
Health. Suddenly that word seems more important these days, as it's consumed all aspects of our lives and made our universes feel smaller than ever. But at Bon Secours, your health has always been our top priority, and we're staying as committed as always to personalizing the right care for you. Because whether here or from home, we believe your health care should always revolve around you. Bon Secours, primary care for the universe of you. Visit bonsecours.com/primary care to connect with a provider today.
Hi, I'm Megan Mack, president of Prospect Blue.
And I'm Jess Barnes, Director of Business Development at Prospect Blue.
Prospect Blue is a staffing and recruiting firm headquartered right here in Richmond, Virginia. We serve the Mid-Atlantic region and beyond.
With the labor market experiencing historic shortages, Prospect Blue is here to help companies attract and retain key talent.
With strong relationships in the corporate, financial, legal, and medical fields, we are in a unique position to connect employers with job seekers.
Back here in the River City, it's the Simplicity halftime show here at the Henny Derby between Madison and Richmond. It was a busy midweek in USL League One. Mark Schoenster has all the highlights.
Only one game in the midweek, Union Omaha looking for payback after the stomping they took just a week and a half ago to this same Lexington side. 24th minute, it's a lovely corner kick from Connor Doyle and a sure-headed finish from Steven Dos Santos, nodding in his 5th goal of the season with the Owls and rewarded with a big celebration with Wes Mims. Then, in the 37th minute, we get this awesome play. It's not a goal, but it's a J.P. Skeers header, and Kalen Fox goes flying in to clear it off the line. I mean, that's got to be up for save of the week. I know it's not a keeper, but case closed. Then, we have another defensive effort in the 50th minute. Alexi Sawahi denies an opportunity right in front of goal for Eric Ceja Gonzalez, denying him the chance to score and level things up in the second half. And he's very graciously thanked by Rashid Nuhu, his keeper, after the fact. Then just 2 minutes later, it's dead ball specialist J.P. Skeers. This time, he's able to get to the back of the net. Just a delicate touch from him. Nice ball from Marco Milanese. Cannot keep your eyes off of J.P. Skeers when it's a corner kick or a free kick like that. Then, in the 61st minute, Lexington tried to have the deficit, but a quick reaction from Rashid Nuhu keeps his clean sheet, and Union Omaha able to get the 2-0 victory. That's 2 wins in a row for the Owls and 3 wins in 4. And for Rashid Nuhu, it's his 31st career clean sheet in USL League One, 30 in the regular season, and he also had a clean sheet in their championship win in 2021. So let's talk about Rashid Nuhu a little bit. He's been with the team since the start, a name that at this point is synonymous with Union Omaha. And he's known for a lot of things, but he's always had a penchant for twitch reactions, especially with his legs, but that doesn't mean he can't stop some heat with his mitts as well. Played 4 games with Red Bulls 2 in 2019 in the USL Championship, so his pro career isn't entirely in Omaha colors, but it nearly is. You can't forget his goalie assist in 2021, where he helped Evan Conway score one of his many goals that season in the Kraft House at Gillette Stadium. And he's still kicking it this year. 6 clean sheets on the season, which puts him 2 behind the frontrunners Bernd Shipman and Lalo Delgado. Needless to say, this Fordham Ram has stamped his claim in these early years of USL League One's history. You know, the Owls are more than happy to have him around, especially because he's always pushing to improve. A thread line we've heard over the years about Mr. Nuhu from several coaches on the coaching staff. but he's not the only one with 31 clean sheets in USL League One. So with that in mind, let's pivot over to Akira Fitzgerald. Standing at just 5'11", this man takes the term shot stopping and just runs with it no matter where the shot is coming from or where it's going. Fitzgerald has proven he has the capability to ragdoll himself to the right spot and punch away the effort. Now, unlike Nuhu, Akira has been a pro for quite a while, spending time with the Carolina Railhawks that are now known as North Carolina FC in USL League One. But he also spent time with the Tampa Bay Rowdies before going to RVA in 2019. And not only is he demonstrating his cat-like prowess with sticks, or demonstrating his cat-like prowess between the sticks, he's also the goalkeeping coach for the Richmond Kickers, so a bit of a juggling act this season and previous seasons for Akira Fitzgerald. Probably helps that he's able to stop shots from Emiliano Terzaghi in practice every single day, but he's been a quality goalkeeper for so long. I, for one, will be interested to see who is on top at the end of the season when it comes to career clean sheets, and you should be interested in what's coming up next at halftime on ESPN+. We'll see you there after this from the USL.
Are you ready? Ready for more of the game you love? Ready for more players and more teams? Ready for more stadiums, for more fans in more cities? This is a different league. The USL Super League. Built for the future of women's soccer. Bridging the journey from youth to pro, connected to the global game, and bringing it all closer to home. Are you ready?
We all have goals. But let's be honest, most of us aren't going to be professional athletes. But if your goal is to finish your degree, we can help. Come to a university that puts your goals first. Bellevue University, your partner in finishing goals.
Let's take a look around USL League One. There are a few Player of the Month nominees: Trevor Ammon, of course, Oleg Sanderson, Steven Dos Santos, Keziah Sterling, and how about Bruno Rendon? He's been terrific as a newcomer for Northern Colorado. Meanwhile, a new training facility for Central Valley Fuego that's going to serve both the first team and academy squads. We know what that academy can do. And of course, the Player of the Week, Keziah Sterling, had a brace Wednesday against this very Madison side. Also dished out an assist against Omaha on Saturday. Here is your look at the Team of the Week. Not too much Richmond or Madison representation. Of course, Neil Vinyals qualifies with his brace, and Christian Chaney scoring in both matches for Madison last week, also featuring. This is very Tormenta-dominated. Of course, thrashed this Madison side 4-1, followed up with a solid result at the weekend. Here is your look around the rest of the league. On Wednesday, Omaha defeating Lexington 2-0. Meanwhile, South Georgia Tormenta up 1-0 on North Carolina. That's a result that certainly concerns the Madison faithful. And Greenville 2-1 up on Charlotte Independence. A cross Carolinas clash that looks great at the moment. Let's take a look at the upcoming schedule. A few more matches tonight. Omaha and Knoxville squaring off at Werner Park. Meanwhile, a 10:30 tilt. Central Valley Fuego hosting Chattanooga, a battle of some of the bottom sides. And Northern Colorado looking to get back on track after a rough week against a Lexington side that has been performing better lately. So a busy week throughout USL League One. Stick with us. We're going to step aside when we return some halftime stats, highlights, and analysis from the Henny Derby first half.
SeatGeek is the ticketing app for fans like the High Five Strangers guy. Game-winning interception. First down. Just a nice, solid tackle. If you're in arm's length, you will be swapping skin with this extrovert. You see, he knows SeatGeek got him a great deal on tickets, so he can focus on what he does best, smacking palms. SeatGeek handles the tickets to sports, concerts, and more, so fans can fan.
So we've decided to sell the house.
Oh, yeah? Who's your realtor?
Well,
Over here, guys, over here. Only $10.
Where do I find comps? What is encumbrance? How do I escrow?
Here's what I found for Scarecrow.
actually, I've been meaning to ask who you and Paul worked with.
Welcome to Royal New Kent Golf Club. Designed by world-renowned architect Mike Strantz, Royal New Kent's a one-of-a-kind Irish-style golf course located 20 minutes east of Richmond, Virginia. Royal New Kent was featured in Golf Week's top 100 public courses in the country. Hidden behind grassy knolls and hand-stacked rock walls, each hole offers several playing options to fit a wide range of abilities. Visit royalnewkent.com or follow us on social media for more information on tee times and rates. Remember, come to Royal New Kent Golf Club to Golf Ireland in Virginia.
Health. Suddenly that word seems more important these days, as it's consumed all aspects of our lives and made our universes feel smaller than ever. But at Bon Secours, your health has always been our top priority, and we're staying as committed as always to personalizing the right care for you. Because whether here or from home, we believe your health care should always revolve around you. Bon Secours, primary care for the universe of you. Visit bonsecours.com/primary care to connect with a provider today.
Back here on the Simplicity halftime show after 45 minutes, Forward Madison with a 1-0 advantage in the second of 3 meetings in the Henny Derby this year. And let's take a look at the highlights presented by Simplicity from that first half. It all begins in the 18th minute. Richmond with a nice little chance here. Emiliano Terzaghi sneaking through. It's a tight angle look. He screws it across the face of goal, unable to tuck it into the far corner though. Then in the 34th, things beginning to pick up a little more for the kickers. This is forced wide, and Chandler O'Dwyer having a hit. Was unsure if he was trying to cross or shoot. Has a dig and nearly creeping that beyond Shipman. And then the goal comes in the 36th minute. Jaden Onen winning it back high upfield. You see his cross come in. It will eventually find the chest of Nazim Bartman, who literally wrestles it over the goal line to open the scoring. He had the assist in the first meeting between these two sides in June, has the goal in early August. And that's where we separate these two sides after 45 minutes. Here is your look at the stats, and look, despite the possession disparity, it is a deserved lead for Forward Madison. They've got 8 shots. They put the only shot on frame in this entire contest. And while Richmond has maybe won the battle in the midfield, they've been unable to convert that into any chances. In terms of cautionary tales, no yellows, no reds. It's been a very disciplined affair between these two sides. Just about set for the start of the second half. Second of 3 episodes in the 5th edition of the Henny Derby. And Cicero restarts us here at City Stadium. Very intriguing to see how Richmond starts things to begin this second half. Here's Macias charging forward, and it's cleared only as far as Jake Kroll. Back here in Richmond, Virginia, Sam Goldfarb here bringing you all of the action from one of the best atmospheres in all of American soccer. We spoke a little bit about the history of the Henny Derby. It's a cultural bucket list item if you are a lower league soccer fan or just a soccer fan in general. And you see a packed house once again for the second and final meeting at City Stadium in this rivalry this season. Here's Gamiro. Macias may have taken a stinger to the ankle. See here, just trying to twist through traffic, and yeah, not intentional, but Gamiro caught him with his studs. See, it's a crucial piece in this Madison midfield. In London, England, we mentioned his acclaimed youth pedigree at QPR and Charlton Athletic. Previously played in the German 4th tier prior to making the move to Madison. His only professional goal came against Union Omaha to open the scoring at Warner Park in May. It was a banger. Blasted it from afar into the top corner of the net. It was a match that got Madison going results-wise. They were sputtering throughout the early stages of the season, struggled to turn draws into wins. It was a statement victory, and then after a couple hiccups in early June, they won 4 straight for this recent mini skid with 3 winless. There's a mainstay on the back line in Timmy Mell. One of many players acclaimed in last edition of the Henny Derby. Drew a Team of the Week nod after that clean sheet at this very ground. You see here O'Dwyer, yep, takes the shove from Gebhard. Not much in it, to be fair. If you're just joining us, it was a first half where chances were at a premium. No surprise when you talk about the Henny Derby. We spoke about the razor-thin margins in this fixture. Nazim Bartman opening the scoring in the 35th. Madison probably generated the lion's share of the key chances. Terzaghi runs that one out of play. Man who's cut the part of a frustrated figure the past couple weeks after scoring 8 and 8 for Richmond. Here's Bartman. It's one back by Vinyals, and here's Hornsby. 24-year-old German looking through for Sierakowski, and it's read well by Sam Brotherton. Brotherton just making his 5th start in the heart of defense. It was an eyebrow raiser when you looked at the lineup and didn't see Mitch Osmond, the usual captain, in the 11. Brotherton has filled the void very well, I'd say. Awney prepares this throw for Richmond. Delivered long, looking for Barnathan. He goes down in the box, and no whistle from Cristian Campo Hernandez. Well, now it comes as there's a Madison man down around the 6. It's Derek Gebhardt who's slow to get up. And a tussle there with Barnathan. He seems no worse for wear. Good to see if you are a Mingo supporter. Here's Gamiro to get us back underway. In swinger for Terzaghi, and narrowly skips it beyond that far post. Couple half chances his way, still looking to calibrate his shooting boots, is the league's all-time top scorer. Great vision from Gamiro, and a good run by Terzaghi. Just twisting it a little wide is the 30-year-old Argentine. He's a legend, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. First man to 50 goals in League One history, and keep in mind, he didn't even join the league until 2020. Some player Darren Sawatsky said, "I knew was special from the minute I watched his game film in Argentina." And that was in spite of him going through a bit of a rough patch in the 4th tier over there. Here's Kroll. Sneaks it through for Onan. And now Gebhardt. Cicero twisting through traffic. He's brought down on the edge of the area. Fall for Payne, who loses out to Vinyals. I'll tell you what, last week it was an interesting talking point with Madison fans. Hadn't been awarded a penalty in a considerable period of time, oddly enough. They finally were awarded one in the late stages of that first half against Greenville. It was 1-0 after Christian Chaney opened the scoring in the 11th. It was over 470 days, we're now hearing, without a penalty kick rewarded. And Jaden Onan unfortunately missed the spot kick. That gave him an opportunity to go up 2-0, and well, from there, the equalizer came. Madison may have felt a little hard done by not to get the 3 points, but Matt Glazer, as we mentioned earlier, still labeled it a positive in the wake of the thrashing against Tormenta earlier last week. These two sides forced to settle for draws, but both took many positives from those ties. How about that footwork from Gamiro? And Vinyals still looking to make his imprint felt on this one. Hornsby delivers across, and Shipman prevents it from going out for the corner. We've seen some flashing moments here and there from Richmond, but just waiting to really test Burn Shipman between the sticks. That has not happened yet. The man who regularly is praised by Matt Glazer. Sure, the acting head coach tonight, Neil Lavati, won't be complaining, though, that he hasn't been put under fire. O'Dwyer looks for Fitch on the overlap, and a little too much on it. Goes out for corner, though, for Richmond. It will be the first W.W. Nash corner kick of the second half for Michael Hornsby and company. You know what Hornsby can do with these crosses. Here's the end swinger. Terzaghi fields at the near post, and it evades everyone at the far post. It's been an interesting season for Emiliano Terzaghi. As you see another look at this. Maybe a little too tight on the near post. Not a lot doing for Star up front. But it's been a season unlike maybe any other for Terzaghi, as Onan will give chase to this one and lose the foot race against the byline. Terzaghi, man, who has led the USL League One in goals in every season he's played. He's won 3 consecutive Golden Boots, 3 consecutive MVPs. But this year it's been ebbs and flows on the goal-scoring front for the 30-year-old. He scored only once in his first 9 contests, then scored 8 in his next 8. And Darren Sawatsky says it's in large part due to an adjustment in their system to provide him a little better service, as the offside flag comes up against that very man, Terzaghi. But since then, held scoreless in the last 2 matches, kept relatively out of it at Northern Colorado and Lexington. Here tonight, we've seen moments here and there, but hasn't gotten any clear-cut opportunities just yet. We know he more than anybody can make the most of half chances. It's just about getting him the ball in positions where he can operate. Here's Payne. A little heavy on O'Dwyer. O'Dwyer. Being a twist beyond Kroll and wins that battle. Here's Vinyals. Martinez erases that opportunity. Hearing word that Christian Cheney is about to announce himself back to the world in a matter of moments. Man to make way will be Mauro Cicero. A rare sight with Cheney coming off the bench. It'll just be his 4th appearance all year as a substitute. But it wouldn't be the Henny Derby, this season at least, without one of the best goal scorers and the best number 9s in all of USL League One. Long throw for Mauney. Cius cleared only as far as Fitch. Flick back into O'Dwyer. Just unable to steer it on target, though. Good look from Fitch. O'Dwyer, though, in a battle with 2, and that's about all you can do with it. Well, here you go. Mauro Cicero is going to vacate, and here is the top scorer for forward Madison, Christian Cheney, the 28-year-old. This man scores wherever he goes. He's the league leader in shots as well, always involved. Central Valley's all-time leading scorer as well. Joined Madison this past offseason. Scored against his former club as well. Wound up being a defeat at Bree Stevens Field. Was the goal of the week that week, though. And Christian Cheney as well scored in both matches last weekend. Scored after 18 seconds in that Tormenta match. Here's Vinyals looking to surgically pick apart this defense. And a heavy touch from Sierakowski stymies that attack. Christian Cheney has also seen his goal scoring come and go. Hadn't scored in 4 straight contests before scoring the last 2, and I asked Matt Glazer this week, you noticed a difference in his play? His answer was honestly no. Cheney always does something for us, whether it's manufacture a chance, hold the ball up, create opportunities for his teammates. His impact isn't always on the score sheet, although that can come very often. It's what makes him one of the best strikers in the league, and somebody that could carry Madison very deep into the postseason if all breaks right. Here's Vinyals beginning to grow into this one. Fitch has some room. Now O'Dwyer. Along the byline, and Jake Kroll winning that battle of wit. So Dwyer's first start since early June. Still looking to grow back into the side. Proven goal scorer, though, especially in the collegiate ranks. He transferred from UMass to D2 Christian Brothers University as the Gulf South Conference Offensive Player of the Year in the Spring 2021 campaign, one which was, of course, delayed by COVID. Here's Gamiro. And Payne reads that one well. Cheney's first touch. And he's already got words for the linesman. Ball down the line for Fitch. It's cut across for Terzaghi, and what a stop by Burn Shipman. Surely that was the golden opportunity Richmond needed. Out of seemingly nothing, Fitch catches the back line asleep, Terzaghi in the half space, and just enough by the inside of that right leg by Burn Shipman to preserve the advantage. Oh, that's astonishing. 2 changes for Richmond. It's Justin Suko, the former Madison man, and Landon Johnson, the 16-year-old, replacing Joao Gamiro. Those first 2 changes for the Roos. Corner comes, the in-swinger from Hornsby. And it'll be cleared out of play. Well, Suko is somebody who has made his mark on the Henny Derby, but he's done it for the opposite side, so to speak. Last year, forced the own goal that snapped a 16-match unbeaten run at home for Richmond at City Stadium. Made an impression on Darren Sawatsky in this offseason. Got him from Matt Glazer's side. Meanwhile, the youth movement also continues for Richmond. Landon Johnson making his 3rd consecutive bench appearance. He's somebody that the coaching staff is incredibly high on. His brother also featuring for Richmond back in the day 2 years ago. There's the long throw. Sierakowski looking to tussle it through traffic. Cheney boots it clear for Onan. He's got pace to burn. Darted across for Nazim Bartman. Looks for Onan. Now Gebhard. Not a bad snapshot opportunity. This counter's lightning quick. Bartman, the goal scorer with the good cross. Gebhard does what he can with that cutback. It's cleverly worked by all parties. And here is the youngster Johnson's first touch. He's been inserted into some very high leverage situations for Richmond. Came in a one-goal game at Northern Colorado before Billy King killed that match off late. So featured with the scoreline level against Lexington. I asked Darren Sawatsky about that youth movement. He said, look, it's about giving these guys opportunities in situations that aren't exactly psychologically challenging. Johnson's a guy who can play regularly 20-plus minutes, according to the gaffer. There's a man in Suko who's more used to starting. Vinyals. Oh, that's clever. Well, he's impressed in the early stages of the second half. Timmy Mell, no match for him that time, but Payne just there to support. Gotta wonder, Stephen Payne knows this side pretty well. He knows a lot of attacks down those flanks. And now Vinyals has Payne out of the play. Well, how about that Burns Shipman stop moments ago? The league's all-time leading scorer with residence inside the 6-yard box, bearing down, and he makes what may be the save of the week with the inside of his right calf. He's won Madison so many matches with his work between the sticks. And if they hold on tonight, it'll be no different. It'll also be the 10th 1-0 scoreline in the history of this Henny Derby. Still 20 minutes and more left to rewrite history a little bit. Johnson. For Fitch. And now he's got some pace to burn. Unable to thread that through for the playmaker Vinyals. One back very well by Hornsby, and this is the kicker blitz we expected early. Looking for O'Dwyer. Spoke a little bit about the contrasting histories of these two sides. The contrasting cultures in terms of creative risks, so to speak, with the kits. But one thing remains common. These fan bases' love for football. And a Hennessy wager that dates back to 2019. You talked to Elliot and Kyle. Apparently, initially they were sending bottles of Hennessy, shipping it across the country, but after Kyle ran into some logistical troubles making that work the first time, says it's harder than you think to ship alcohol midway across the country. They turned it into more of a Zelle Cash App type bet. Now, of course, it's just the trophy at the end of the 3-4 meetings. 2020, of course, the lone exception. It was just one meeting, which Richmond won 1-0. Right now, Madison 20 minutes away from enjoying the spoils. Here's Payne, keeps it in play, now has some space. Looking for Cheney, and he fouls Fitzgerald in the process. Enticing ball from Payne, a little too tight perhaps on Fitzgerald, and yeah, I mean, you can't invade the keeper's airspace even if there's minimal contact. Cheney, of course, quite the firecracker up top. Always fired up out there. Here's Sierakowski. Sees opening up a bit. Good work by Mel. Hearing word it'll be Andrew Wheeler-Amunu to replace Aiden Macias at the next stoppage. And it'll come now. So Macias makes way after 72 minutes. Andrew Wheeler-Amunu, a man who's grown into the side more recently after battling through early season injuries. A man who's got plenty of experience in USL Championship with Sacramento Republic. Had an assist on Wednesday on Cheney's 18-second opener against Tormenta. How about that, a Harvard product? Here's Onan, he's got some room, trying to sneak it through for Gebhard. Gebhard across the face and nobody home to meet it. He and Cheney just not quite on the same wavelength. This was promising though. Defense on their heels, overhits it for what looks to be Cheney, and Gebhard just unable to salvage it beyond a darting cross. Kroll venturing forward, as he tends to from left back. Clever work by Gebhard. It's cut back and tucked in by Onan. It's 2 for Madison. The 22-year-old Englishman doubling Madison's advantage on the road. Onan's first of the year, and the Mingos in dreamland at City Stadium. This is all done by Derek Gebhard. You see the clever run in the half space, great turn to scuffle beyond Ani, and what a cutback, Onan placing it perfectly corner pocket. And how about that, your first of the year in the closing stages of the Henny Derby.
Forward Madison goal scored by number 10.
A man who has so much proven experience throughout the elite youth academies in England, Arsenal, Crystal Palace, Brighton, Brentford, you name it, he's been there. He scores a pivotal goal to double Madison's lead with 15 to go. The hydration break comes. Jaden Onan with his first in a Madison kit. We knew him as an assist provider. He pops up with what may be the Henny Derby deciding goal here in 2023. Richmond with work to do if they hope to avoid a 5th consecutive match without a victory. They'll need late dramatics in a Henny Derby that tends to lack goals en masse. This would be Forward Madison's first win by multiple goals if they see this out in the Derby's history. And it's only the third time, that Madison has scored 2 goals in a Henny Derby meeting. The last time was on June 23rd, 2022. It was a 2-1 win for the Mingos. As of now, the Henny Derby trophy may be staying with Kyle Carr and the Featherstone Flamingos. Well, wholesale changes now, and the youth movement will rage on. Beckett Howell making his first feature.
Substitutions. Departing the match.
As is Gabe Cox, a youngster who made his 3rd appearance of the year at Omaha in what was a 4-1 victory in July. And a more experienced figure as well in Matt Bentley. I was talking to Darren Sawatsky specifically about Howell. Says he's got bite for days. Hornsby's in swinger. And it's cleared over for the most recent goal scorer, Onan, who's got a wide open sea of green in front. Looking through for Bartman. Flag stays down. Switching the play, looking for Payne. Sits kindly for him. Bartman opened the scoring in the 35th. Onan doubled their advantage in the 74th. Onan grew up in England, a Ugandan citizen officially. Years old, making what looks to be a decisive impact in this second Henny Derby. Here's Cheney, clever flick for Onan. Looking through for Gebhard. Now Wheeler Amunu. I believe the flag may have been raised. Instead, it's a man down. It looks. Like the referees will call out the physios now. So a little more on Beckett Howell, the most recent substitute for Richmond. 34 years of age, a defender by trade. Another man on an academy contract. Let's take another look at this injury for the time being. Howell, just 18 years of age, wearing number 33. See this ball come in and some contact after the fact. That's what the whistle was blown for. And it's the most recent goal scorer, Onan. Here's your look at the River City Red Army. It's a rare sight silenced at the moment. One of the livelier supporters bases in all of USL League One. And, well, Jaden Onen's a big part of that. He's grown into the match so well here in the second. And now we'll just get a quick look from the physios before they clear him to return. I wonder if maybe that does it for his night. And it will. So Onen vacates, but his first goal in a Forward Madison kit this season couldn't have come at a better time. And born and raised in England, Ugandan citizenship. But we mentioned so much proven pedigree in almost every English academy. Madison will be playing with 10 until they can officially make the change, but it'll be Eric Connerty who will replace Onen. So Howell, 18 years of age. Sawatsky says aggressive defender. He says he'd rather rein in a stallion than have to kick a mule. Looking for Bentley. Dealt with unconvincingly by Brotherton, but he does enough. Here's Gabe Cox's first touch. So there is the change. Connerty replaces Onen, the most recent goal scorer. Connerty, 23 years old, making his 15th appearance. He's been a regular bit part substitute in the dying stages of matches. Played for Western Michigan in college, led them to their second ever MAC championship this past fall. Here's Cheney, looking through for Connerty, and Fitzgerald doing just enough to win that foot race. Connerty began his college career at Butler before transferring to Western Michigan. Safe to say it was a good choice. The better creative pieces in the MAC in his 4 years there as a Bronco. Barring a late Richmond surge, Forward Madison may very well claim their third consecutive win on enemy soil. City Stadium's a hard place to win. Forward Madison, though, racked up victories at will in the Henny Derby at City Stadium. Here's Fitch, he wins it back. Still time to change proceedings. Bentley tries, and it's deflected just beyond the side netting. So the corner comes for Suko and company. They're in need of a lifeline, and fast are the kickers. Here is the outswinger from Suko. Cleared out of danger. The official changes were Ani vacated. Neil Vinyals is also out of the action now, as is Emiliano Terzaghi. A rare frustrating night for the Argentine. Just see how matches change. Has that big one-on-one chance denied, and Jaden Onen, a matter of moments later, scoring what could be the nail in the coffin. Suko and company with other ideas. Another W.W. Nash corner kick. Here's the outswinger to the back post. And it does make contact with Amingo's hand. The referee points to the spot. And suddenly we may find ourselves with a late twist to tonight's tale. Here's the outswinger from Suko one more time. And yes, it does hit Timmy Mel's hand. Textbook penalty. Richmond with an opportunity to add some latent nerves here for Madison. As of now, Dakota Barnathan holds the ball. Well then, it wouldn't be the Henny Derby without a late twist. And a listed defender in Dakota Barnathan will take this. "28 years old, a product of local Virginia Commonwealth University. Looking to give Richmond a late lifeline here at City Stadium. Barnathan converts. It's nervy, but it does the job, and Richmond within one late. The Kickers have an opportunity to salvage something at home here. It's the 28-year-old center back. Just gets enough power on this. Shipman guesses the right way. But Barnathan a little high and has enough steam to creep beyond the all-star keeper. Richmond with that lifeline and still plenty of time plus added time for late dramatics. We'll see how that changes Richmond energy-wise going forward. Howell takes a shove from Connerty. Well, suddenly it's all kicking off. These two supporters groups, friends off the pitch, but during the 90 minutes, it's all about bragging rights and earning that. Here comes the header, looking for Bentley. Flag stays down. And now Sierakowski. Cleared unconvincingly, and Hornsby will have an opportunity to tee up this long throw. Dakota Barnathan penalty. Let's put the wind in Richmond's sails a bit. Well, now Martinez seems to have an issue. The man wearing the captain's armband will walk this off. Well, Martinez's antics aren't making him any friends here at City Stadium, to say the least. Keep in mind, he's played all 90 minutes. We're going to wave on the substitutes, it seems, or at least the physios. So the Greenswell Growers added time. 7 minutes separate forward Madison from a second consecutive Henny Derby victory. Be their second win at City Stadium this year. Sierakowski winning a free kick, though. Keep in mind, even though a draw gets the job done for Madison, it's about playoff positioning, too. You see Bartman, a little shove on Sierakowski, does well to sell it. For Richmond, meanwhile, look, they're 3 points beneath the playoff cut line. The two teams immediately above them have a game in hand. And both Greenville and Madison can't afford to drop points. Here's the in-swinger. Decent delivery on that set piece. And now the goal scorer, Barnathan, trying to win it back. For Madison, this would be a huge 3 points. I mean, you secure these 3, you make your case for the top 4. Here comes the cross by Barnathan. Cheney does well to stand it up. Cleared only as far as the youngster Beckett Howell. Johnson. For the former Madison man, Suko. Another set piece comes from another enticing position. Suko, a player that Darren Sawatsky saw potential in from the moment he watched his Madison game film and from the moment he conjured the stunner that ended Richmond's 16-match home unbeaten run. Now he stands over this set piece. Good-looking delivery to the back post. It's headed across. And it narrowly, somehow, evades that far post. Oh, Richmond fans for sure thought that found the back of the net. Touch comes on the far side. Bentley tried to sneak it in and just missed it. Mel did just enough to put him off at the goal mouth. And oh goodness, what that could have been for the substitute. Over 3 minutes of allocated stoppage time remaining. Here is Connerty, taps this wisely into space. Fitzgerald directing the men in black forward. Suko wrestling with Martinez, and the latter does just enough to weather that pressure. Well, this season it's been a Henny Derby defined by former players stunning their old clubs, with Payne doing it last time out. I wonder if Suko can return the favor. Here's Cheney. Suddenly it's a journey to the corner flag for the Mingos. Here's some space for Cox. Plays it through. Just over-hitting Sierakowski, and Shipman will pounce on it. Burning clock at each waking moment is Madison, and wisely so. Kept in play by Bentley. He's dragged down. It's a cynical challenge from Kroll. See if the referee comes back to it. No cautions issued in this entire contest. And there it comes. The first White Claw yellow card comes against Jacob Kroll. Suko to deliver. One final chance for Richmond. And this is hoofed out of danger. Final opportunity. Here's Landon Johnson. And he'll win a set piece. What may be the final W.W. Nash corner kick of the night. And on races, Justin Suko. Here's his outswinger, stood up by Cheney. Now for Barnathan. Hornsby, it's taken the steam out of, and that'll do it. Forward Madison secures the Henny Derby trophy for yet another year. The first time the Mingos have gone back-to-back, and a third consecutive victory in the hostile grounds of City Stadium. A night that always is a celebration ends in a bit of disappointment for Dakota Barnathan and the Richmond Kickers, who now are 5 matches unbeaten. But Barnathan is our Cater CPA man of the match with his goal from the penalty spot that provided a lifeline for Richmond. Azim Bartman, Jaden Onen and company do enough to secure all 3 points once again here in Richmond. Now the 4th win in the last 5 Henny Derby meetings for the Mingos. And that man opened the scoring in the late stages of the first. Jaden Onen finished things off around the midway point of the second. Despite a late scare from Barnathan and company, Forward Madison secures another 3 points. They continue to compete for a top 4 spot. Let's take a look at our save of the game presented by Impossible Pups. As you see in the second half, it was a decent looking cross. Cheney got his head to it, and Fitzgerald did just enough to put him off and draw the whistle. It's one of the few times he was called into action apart from the goals, but he did his job that time. Not much Fitzgerald really could have done on either finish as well. So that is the save of the match. So after 90 minutes, Forward Madison ends a mini 3-match winless skid despite the lack of Matt Glazer on the touchline. They move to 2-0 in the Henny Derby and retain the trophy. We'll step aside here on ESPN Plus when we return the post-game show.
We would not have a business today if it weren't for the support of many, many people within the Richmond community. To me, we're working as a team to enhance the quality of life for all residents.
It's about being the best that you can be. It's about enriching the lives of people in your community. There's a reason why we have the tagline Nourish, because it's really about nourishing the lives of the people that work for us and the people that we serve. That's what the UCrops brand stands for.
Health. Suddenly that word seems more important these days, as it's consumed all aspects of our lives and made our universes feel smaller than ever. But at Bon Secours, your health has always been our top priority, and we're staying as committed as always to personalizing the right care for you. Because whether here or from home, we believe your health care should always revolve around you. Bon Secours, primary care for the universe of you. Visit bonsecours.com/primary care to connect with a provider today.
Hi, I'm Megan Mack, President of Prospect Blue.
And I'm Jess Barnes, Director of Business Development at Prospect Blue.
Prospect Blue is a staffing and recruiting firm headquartered right here in Richmond, Virginia. We serve the Mid-Atlantic region and beyond.
With the labor market experiencing historic shortages, Prospect Blue is here to help companies attract and retain key talent.
With strong relationships in the corporate, financial, legal, and medical fields, we are in a unique position to connect employers with job seekers.
Let's take a look at the full-time highlights from the Henny Derby presented by First Tee of Greater Richmond. It began in the 36th minute where Nazim Bartman got on the board, and Jaden Onan made his imprint early, also made it late. Here's a good cross. It was chested well by Bartman and literally fought it over the goal line to open the scoring. It was a half that largely was bossed by Madison and a deserved goal to open the scoring and give the Mingos an early advantage. From there, Richmond began to chase the game more and more. In the 51st minute, you see this really nice chance, a one-on-one for Terzaghi, just skews it wide. And then in the 60th, a golden opportunity to equalize, a couple golden ones. Here's the first one that comes for Dwyer, can't finish. And then in the 74th minute, this was the decisive blow. It all comes from Derek Gebhardt. What a run, he cuts it back, and perfectly placed by Jaden Onan. Man who, if he's not responsible for the assist, should be. Gets a goal to his name as well. A career night as he announces himself to the USL League One world on Henny Derby night. It put them in prime position to secure all 3 points. There was a late twist to the tail, though. It came on a late handball. You see this corner kick shaken by former Madison Mansuko. Comes off Mel's hand. Pretty obvious, and immediate point to the spot. Dakota Barnathan slots it home. Richmond, though, unable to find any late heroics, and they have to settle for yet another defeat on their home ground against Madison. Here's your look at the final stats presented by First Tee of Greater Richmond. You see possession favoring Richmond, and also the shots, even though that was not the case at halftime. But Madison with more shots on goal, and 2 of those 3 shots found the back of the net. Just 1 yellow card for either side the entire game. That'll do it for our coverage here from Richmond, Virginia tonight. For Sam Goldfarb, our entire terrific ESPN Plus crew, we'd like to thank you for joining us. Henny Derby Day goes Madison's way. Once again, they retain the trophy after 2 wins in 2 at City Stadium. We'd like to thank you for tuning in. Another brilliant night for Madison on enemy soil. Have a good night, everyone.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League League One cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League League One.